Hi, Kevin Coop here, and this is FaceTime with the Content Guy, coming to you from Portland State University. I'm on campus, Portland, Oregon, and that means zing, 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 go my heartstrings. Now, this isn't my summer gig. I am here because it was the 20th annual Executive Summit that is run by Portland State University Center for Retail Leadership. And I had an opportunity, and by the way, that is the streetcar that runs right through campus. It's totally cool. Anyway, I'm here because that was the Executive Summit was this week. And I had the opportunity while I was here to moderate a panel that was sort of interesting. And, you know, when you do a panel, you always want to have a subject that, you know, it's going to kind of get people turned on, get them really thinking. And well, listen, we didn't want to talk about sex, didn't want to talk about religion, didn't want to talk about sports, so we talked about money. And it was great because we had three panelists that were absolutely outstanding. They came to the subject of money and investment from very different perspectives. We had a fellow named Scott Moses, and Scott is with the Saging Group, and basically Scott works on big mergers, big acquisitions, okay? That's the canvas he works on. We had an old friend of mine, Tom Furphy. He used to be with Amazon Fresh, and he's now has his own venture capital group called Consumer Equity Partners. And basically what he's doing is he's looking for technology companies to invest in. And then we had a fellow I'd never really met before, a guy named David Howlett with the Merriweather Group. And David's a really interesting guy. He's an entrepreneur. He and his wife started Oregon Chai, and now have invested in companies and helped companies grow. Companies like Voodoo Donuts and Stumptown Coffee, local companies here. And he's had a lot of success in that area. Now, what was interesting about all three guys, okay, they're all in the investment arena, albeit working on different canvases. But what was interesting about them is they all shared something really, really important. Now, one of the things that was obviously important to anybody in the investment business, okay, you want to be in a position where the companies in which you're investing make money, right? You want to make sure the revenue is right, the margins are right, the profit's right. Because if you don't do that, you know, what's the point? It doesn't make a lot of sense. But they also thought something else was important in very different ways. They thought the and is really important. And let me explain to you what I mean by the and what they meant by the and. You know, yes, you get the numbers right, but you have to have the other thing right as well, because that's what's really going to make the deal work and make the deal be sustainable over a long period of time. Now, in the case of Scott, right, he's a New York investment guy, mergers, acquisitions. But you know, the way Scott talks about, listen, it's not just a matter of, you know, putting together two companies and not worrying what happens. You want to create entities that are going to, over the long time, grow, create jobs that are going to be good for the economy. I mean, investment bankers sometimes get the reputation of kind of the plundering companies. They put things together, they don't care. As long as the investors make a buck, that's all that really matters to them. And Scott has a very different approach. He's interested in the long term because he knows the decisions he helps the companies make are going to have long-term economic implications. In the case of Tom, you know, he's looking for disruptive influences. He's looking for little technology companies or medium-sized technology companies that have the opportunity to sort of create needs or identify needs that nobody else is seeing, because he knows, listen, you know, somebody on the panel said there's two kinds of people in the world, right? There's dinosaurs, and then there are people who aren't dinosaurs, and you definitely don't want to be in the dinosaur business at this time in the retail manufacturing scheme. And then in the case of David, it's really fascinating, because David believes in the entrepreneur as a hero. He believes in the founder's imprint, and he really wants to work with companies where that's important, because he knows over the long term that's the and that really matters. He believes that companies can make a difference in society. And listen, and this is not a guy who's, you know, off in an ashram someplace. This is an investment guy that believes the best kinds of companies are the companies that can make a difference to the world around them, that can save the world in a lot of different ways. So these are three very different people, but they all are looking at the and. And listen, that's something I think we've always talked a lot about on Morning Newsbeat, but they crystallized it in a way that I think I never really have in quite the same manner. It's the and that matters, whether you're a manufacturer or a retailer, right? It's the differential advantages that make a difference. That's what allows you to be successful. That's what allows you to be sustainable over the long term. Yes, it's about the finances, but it's also about that other stuff that make you different, that make you successful, and over the long term are going to make you sustainable. Anyway, that's what's on my mind this Thursday morning, and as always, I want to hear what's on your mind.